Tonight, a former Livingston Parish councilman faces possible jail time after he admitted to taking a bribe and not reporting that money to the IRS. News 2's Veronica Musgrove joins us with the details from the newsroom.
Annie, this morning, Robert Ringo pled guilty to one count of making a false statement on his income tax return. According to court documents, Ringo accepted a bribe from a local businessman with financial interest in the Woodside Landfill. The documents say in 1999, Ringo made a campaign promise not to vote for the landfill's expansion. But Ringo admits after he was elected councilman and after taking the $17,000 bribe, he voted in favor of the landfill's expansion. A group that calls itself Concerned Citizens of Livingston Parish has been fighting the dump's expansion for years. In 2004, the landfill was given a permit to expand. Those against the landfill are asking DEQ to rescind that permit.
We believe the permit is now illegal because Mr. Ringo cast the deciding vote in the 2000 handover vote. So now that no longer stands. So strictly speaking, Waste Management no longer have the permit.
This afternoon, Rodney Mallett with the Department of Environmental Quality released this statement, quote, "The legal process will have to run its course. DEQ will decide what, if any, action to take at the conclusion of this process." And Waste Management issued this statement, quote, "Neither Waste Management nor any of its employees has asked or authorized anyone to undertake any illegal acts in connection with the Woodside Landfill. Our company and employees were not consulted about and were not aware of the activities reported to have occurred regarding Mr. Ringo." Robert Ringo could get 3 years in jail, a $100,000 fine, or both. His sentencing date has not been set. U.S. Attorney David Dugas says Ringo used the $17,000 to buy a race car. In the newsroom, Veronica Musgrove, WBRZ News 2, Louisiana.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm George Ryan.
And I'm Andrea Plessy. Prison time could be in the near future for a former Livingston Parish councilman after allegedly accepting a $17,000 bribe.
What's more, he didn't report the money to the Internal Revenue Service. News 2's nighttime reporter Veronica Musgrove spoke exclusively with the former councilman just a little while ago.
Well, Robert Ringo says although he pled guilty to tax evasion, he says that's the only crime he committed. As for the bribe, he adds he never accepted money from anyone involved in the controversial Woodside Landfill. On papers that said that you took a bribe.
No. I pleaded guilty to one count of tax evasion for $1,889. So, they can read in it whatever they want. That's the count. That's the count against it.
But according to court documents signed by Robert Ringo, the former Livingston Parish councilman did accept a $17,000 bribe from a man with financial interest in the Woodside Landfill, and that's what ultimately led to the tax evasion charge. Did you admit to taking
I don't admit to it.
Court documents say in 1999, Ringo made a campaign promise not to vote in favor of the landfill's expansion. The documents say after he was elected councilman and after he took the $17,000 bribe, he then voted in favor of the landfill's expansion.
This is just the beginning. And we expect to see a whole lot more indictments.
A group that calls itself Concerned Citizens of Livingston Parish has been fighting the dump's expansion for years. In 2004, the landfill got a permit to expand. Those against the landfill are asking the Department of Environmental Quality to rescind that permit.
We believe the permit is now illegal because Mr. Ringo cast the deciding vote in the 2000 handover vote. So now that no longer stands. So strictly speaking, Waste Management no longer have the permit.
But Ringo claims there's much more to this story.
I say wait until it's all over with and the full truth will come out. My attorneys advised me not to speak to the news media. My attorneys advised me not to speak about it, so that's what I'm going to do.
Ringo could get 3 years in jail, a $100,000 fine, or both when he's sentenced for his guilty plea to one count of making a false statement on his income tax return. His sentencing date has not been set. This afternoon, Waste Management issued this statement, quote, "Neither Waste Management nor any of its employees has asked or authorized anyone to undertake any illegal acts in connection with the Woodside Landfill. Our company and employees were not consulted about and were not aware of the activities reported to have occurred regarding Mr. Ringo. Now, there's no decision yet by DEQ on whether to pull the permit for the project. Ringo isn't the only former Livingston Parish politician in trouble for alleged corruption involving waste management at Woodside Landfill in Walker. Now, last November, former Livingston Parish President Bribe pled not guilty to mail fraud. A federal grand jury indicted Radcliffe on charges that unnamed people with an interest in the Woodside Landfill contract financed his re-election campaign to the tune of $200,000. He goes to trial April 25th. As for Ringo, U.S. Attorney David Dugas says Ringo used the $17,000 to buy a race car. Ringo tells me tonight that any money he made off that race car was charity.
So there is a possibility he could go states evidence if this whole thing unfolds. Okay, thank you.